You just say Texas is back? Oh man, we gotta. Yeah, boy, I'm done. I'm
We
done.
on now. We on now. What's up, Pete? Welcome to the SEC Connect, man. We got 4 out of the 5. You know, the fifth will be here a little bit late, but man, big news today, folks. Man, Steven, it's just got a partnership, man, with Bleacher Report. So go on over to Bleacher Report and get that hot take about them Texas Longhorns. You know what I'm talking about from Steven. Man, hey man, congrats, Steven. Oh, here he is. The SEC
Uh-oh.
Connect is not the SEC Connect without Chris with a K. What up, Chris?
What's up,
What
man?
it do?
What's up, man?
Man, we got all 5 in here today, man. What's
Look,
going on?
look, my brothers in Christ from the Texas side. It's a truce today, buddies. Okay, it's a truce today, buddy.
Oh goodness.
We're
Yeah,
not,
that's
There we
true.
go.
we're not gonna do it today. I'm gonna leave Texas alone for today. We got a bigger battle. We got a bigger battle on our hands.
All right, man. So, hey, first off, man, go like, comment, subscribe, and share this channel. Hey, like this video while you're in here. If you're in here, man, we got 28 people in now. We just started. I should have at least 28 likes, okay? Wipe your feet before you come in my house, man. Wipe your feet before you come into the SEC Connect house, all right? You don't do that, man. Take your shoes off before you come in, man. Wipe your feet. But yeah, man. Like, comment, subscribe, and share, man. But look, Chris kind of brought it up already. Guys, I want to get into topic number 2 first. We're going to start with the Big 12 hates Texas and OU. Those comments.
Let's start with the smoke.
Let's start with the smoke, man. Brett Yormack, whatever his name is, you know, talking
site.
talking that mess about Texas and OU, talking about the kind of glad that Texas and OU are gone a year early, telling Texas Tech to handle business next year up in Austin because they handled business in Lubbock last year. Kind of send us out on the sour note. He's going to be at the game. Yeah, man. Chris, what are your thoughts on that, man?
My thoughts is that it's an inside job waiting to happen. This is every mafia movie that we've watched. This is Godfather Part 3 because it's a terrible plot already, and you see it about to unfold. If you know what, it kind of takes the joy already out of Kansas coming to Texas, coming to Austin, the game before the Red River rivalry game is played because it feels like, okay, well, yeah, if you guys lose, it'll be kind of like a OU Oregon of about a decade ago, whenever that onside kick, if you know what I'm talking about. But it just seems like it's an inside job, like what's going to happen. Obviously, we know the holding calls and all the rest of that stuff. Ty can talk about that. Ty says it every time that he has a chance. It just doesn't make any sense that you would come out and blatantly put these two teams out on blast like that. You would think that the commissioner will have a little bit more class. Obviously, he doesn't. Like I said, it just doesn't look good for us. My uncle always said one thing. Well, he's still coaching, but when he was when I was playing for him, he always said, "Hey, we got to be 20 points better, 10 points better than the other team, and 10 points better than the refs." And that's what OU and Texas are going to have to do this year for sure. Obviously, we feel damn good about our teams for our own respective reasons. That is what it is. But yet and still, OU goes to a BYU. That's a setup. Texas Tech already. That seems like that's going to be a setup. Granted, you guys are going to be there at home against them, but like I said, they have set the schedules to the point where, on the surface level, OU and Texas should be successful. But don't be surprised if there's some calls that don't go our way.
Steven.
I completely agree, Chris, in terms of that analogy you talked about, point differential of being you got to be not just better than your opponent, but better than the refs. It's funny because in a completely different context, Gilbert Arenas on Gil's Arena had Evan Turner and some other guys on talking about NBA playoffs and kind of conspiracy theories with previous playoff games. And Evan Turner made the comment, I think Gilbert Arenas echoed this. And if you want to beat Boston Celtics in the East or the Lakers in the West, you got to be 15 points better than your opponent to win by 1, is how they said it. And that really resonates here with Texas. One thing I've always, and I grew up, this is on a serious note, like growing up, this was kind of something I was taught is when I rather you hate me to my face than you do it behind my back. And so I'm glad that they are being upfront about this energy and putting this out there because I've always felt, and there's several different people that are Texas, and OU conspiracy theorists with Big 12 refs. Big 12 refs is a thing for a reason, by the way. And this is before we ever talked about leaving the conference. Big 12 refs has always been a thing. But now that it's up in your face, it's front and center. It's very clear where Brett Yormark stands. It's very clear where this conference stands. It's now, if you're Steve Sarkisian, if you're Brett Venables, you already know what the mission is in the locker room. Boys, it's right in front of you. It's right in front of you. Like from a motivational standpoint, I'm sorry. What nothing fires me up more than that man having to hand that trophy to us in Arlington. And I want it to be him to hand me that trophy. And if it's Jay, Chris, y'all should feel the same way if you're Brett Venables.
Oh, we do.
I want that man to hand me that trophy. And I'm leaving, right? Because this whole now we can be unapologetic about opening up a can of whoop ass on every single bum ass Big 12 team I've ever seen. There's no more hiding, bro.
Yes.
Y'all made that declaration of war, fam. So now that you've done it, now that the smoke is out there, because what I don't want to hear is when we up 3 scores and we blow a game and we start talking about the refs and all that. Don't even leave it up to them. Do the whole remember the Titans, Coach Boone, the whole thing, leave no doubt. Don't even let them score. Like that's literally got to be the energy week to week. Because I think when you have a common enemy like this that causes real rage, that's easier to motivate a team week over week and keep them consistent over the year in a weird way. Thank you for the gift, Britt Yormark.
Ooh.
Go ahead.
So
No. You go ahead, guys. You guys good. I'm just listening right now.
yeah. So let me jump into this real quick. First and foremost, it's on site with your mic. On site. It's on site when we see him, right? We ready for this. So on top of that, both of them make a great point of we just go out there and just win the conference, right? Conference championship needs to be between Oklahoma and Texas. Keep all the rest of them out of it. Make them feel as disrespected as we want. And as we leave the game, regardless of who wins, everybody needs to walk by and, rub their feet a little bit on that Big 12 sign. Just to remind them who we are and why are you so disrespectful to us? Like, we know that the agenda's been there. And just as you mentioned, Steven, and you've mentioned this before as well, the agenda's there. We know it's there. It's always existed. Heck, 2 hold calls were given in favor of Texas last season. 1 was given to Oklahoma last season. That tells you something right there. That tells you that they're focused on trying to there is a conspiracy against the 2 teams that brought all the money to the Big 12. And if anything, the Big 12 should be thanking Oklahoma and Texas because we're the only reason why the conference didn't die. If we would have left and went to the Pac-12, if the Pac-12 was smart and said, you know what, Texas, you are one of the largest brands in the country, sure, have the Longhorn Network, but we need to make sure we work revenue deals and stuff around it. If they would have done that, the Big 12 would have went bye-bye. And we would have all been going west, to prettier weather, to be absolutely honest. But because y'all want to be disrespectful like that, we're going to remind y'all. We're going to go through, we're going to own this conference, and then we're going to walk out, we're going to rub our feet on that sign and say, yeah, no more Big 12 for us, SEC country. Let's go.
Oh, man. Hey, Ty. Go ahead, Ty.
Go ahead, Ty. We gotta let Ty speak.
Yeah. So the crazy thing to me, right, is look. Largely, I've been impressed by Yormark and how he pivoted. Right after Texas and Oklahoma left the conference, he knew that he was in big trouble. I was impressed by the work the Big 12 did in terms of teams they added in. I haven't hid this fact. I'm very excited to see what UCF does in the conference. But let's not be disenfranchised into believing that from a monetary standpoint, a view standpoint, that in any way matches what Texas and Oklahoma gave the conference. It doesn't. I'm excited because I'm a diehard degenerate college football fan, right? So you put some teams that were quasi Power 5 in a Power 5. You give me the Utah rivalry. I'm going to be excited, but I'm a low bar to please. Let's be very real. It was really weird hearing Yormak say that at the Texas Tech dinner or banquet or whatever the hell it was, where he was saying you need to get the job done.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just an odd thing for a conference commissioner to say. Like, I can't imagine a world where Greg Sankey says that about any of the SEC teams, even if they're leaving, because one of the things that has to be there in order for sports to work, or in order for anything to work, is faith in the institutions.
Exactly.
If you remove faith in the institutions, in sports, in military, in government, certainly in democracy, the whole thing crumbles. And you have a leader challenging, like giving people an outright reason to put a lack of faith in the institutions. And that's just a wild thing to me. I don't know why in the world he said it. That's a very real quote, James. I stand by that 100%. Mm-hmm. But I cannot for the life of me figure out why he said that. Now, Jay, to piggyback off of what you said, y'all got a holding call last year? We got none. We got Dallas Turner and Will Anderson and got 0 holding calls all year. Riddle me that one.
Yeah, touche.
0.
You guys said
now, granted, we were none.
Wow.
None.
Did not know that.
None.
Did not know that.
Walking penalty factory, though. Now, I'm not saying those penalties were wrong, right? Like, Bama was undisciplined. Those penalties were largely earned, but no. And yeah. But no, I can't imagine how y'all feel, right? Because I know there's been a conspiracy, and this kind of gives legitimacy to it.
Yeah. That I can tell you now, one game that I'm definitely looking at the schedule and I'm saying, yeah, O-State. We got to go to Okie Light this year. We got to go to Stillwater this year. And funnier things have happened. Now, it's kind of been on us mostly. Even last year, as down as we were at times, we still, basically ran through them. Granted, it was the first quarter, but still, I mean, that really wasn't a game. You kind of already knew what was going to happen. Better talent on the field, all of that, it showed. Better coaching, everything. But going to Stillwater, funny things could happen. And that's a place where I could see these Big 12 reps actually really trying to kind of stick it. It's going to be the last Bedlam game for however long they want. OSU wants to hold this fake grudge against us for leaving them. Because I think, honestly, in all reality, it's not necessarily they're mad at OU is leaving and going to the SEC. Is that they're going to the SEC without them, because that was supposed to be a package deal. That's how it's always been when OU was in early talks to leave to the ACC, to the SEC. Always, that's how it was. We're gonna take little brother, but it didn't happen. So that's definitely a game that you gotta mark on your calendar after this now, because you're like, okay, well, here we go.
Noted.
Yep.
Look, man, I'm with Ty on this. This is odd, man. You got a guy who is basically the AD for the entire conference, right? And to come out with some statements like that. And like Steven said earlier, there's a reason why we have a Big 12 ref term, because we always get screwed. Not just us. It just happens. It's the worst recruiting group of individuals, I think, in the country when it comes to conferences. And Chris, you said that you're worried about the OSU game. I'm worried about when Texas goes to, I think, TCU, man. That's going to be towards the end of the season. And
Houston would be a game where some kooky things can happen.
I mean, it could be squirrely, but I just think Houston hasn't been at the Power 5 level
conspiracy.
Huh?
conspiracy. I'm telling you, man. That TCU game concerns me.
Yeah, that one really concerns me. The Houston game, I don't think they have the talent yet, as far as like the depth and talent to hang with either teams. But TCU's been kind of quietly building a good team there. So that's the one that I would probably be worried about. But also the Texas Tech game at Texas, man, for him to come out and say that, it almost makes you wonder what calls aren't going to get called, right? Especially the last regular season game for Texas in the conference. What calls are not going to get called here for Texas? I mean, we've already seen it. We had, Ty, I don't want to, bring this back up, but the Alabama game, when Bryce goes over the right tackle, if you go and look at that play, there's a bunch of jersey getting grabbed as he's running for the first down on that third, that fourth down play. It's a lot of jersey getting grabbed, not one holding call called, and that could have changed the outset of the game too as well. So, we don't get calls in our own house, in our own conference against Alabama. What makes you think that they're going to hook us up when it comes to Texas Tech? So, yeah, we're going to have
the refs in that game were awful. I watched y'all's right guard literally piggyback Will Anderson to the quarterback on his back, arms around him, nothing. I watched Jordan Whittington full extend in front of a ref, catch. Nothing. So no, let's look. If we want to go tit for tat, the refs were in that game were bad.
Yeah. They're horrible all the time for that conference.
I got one last point on this. All right. Jay said it. What did you say, Jay? It was a conspiracy?
conspiracy.
Okay. So if we talk a conspiracy, all right, and with everything that's going on now, right, what's the difference between the Big 12 and, not to get political, but Trump, Giuliani, all of them, hit their ass with a RICO. Let's get it. Let's go. Let's get it. But hit their ass with a RICO, and this will all be solved. All right.
Snitching though.
It's racketeering, is all of that. They are conspiring to destroy the pieces that will be, and it's crazy because as much as a lot of the national analysts and a lot of national media are already crowning Texas as the Big 12 champion and possibly a college football playoff invitee. It's crazy that you would do that to arguably your top two teams or your teams.
Hold on, Chris. Hold, Chris. I gotta stop you there for a minute because we just got a 50 burger right now. DK
wow.
Longhorn. Hey man, appreciate that. Steven, can I earmark this money for you to bet on Texas? If not, holler at us. You better. Hey, DK Longhorn, man.
A 50 DK. Looking generous
hey, man,
tonight.
Brother gave us a 50 burger, man. Look at you, dude.
Look. If I can't bet on Texas this year with all the nonsense going on, baby, then I never will bet on Texas again. So let's put that 50 burger on them horns, on the 40 acres. We really, in all seriousness,
and the mule.
Donations. Hey, we appreciate it. In all seriousness,
that's awesome, man. Appreciate
really
it.
cool to support, man. But put that 50 on Texas. That if there's ever a year I could say that about my team, especially after today's smoke, that's already on my heart. It's on my spirit, brother. You know what, too, fellas? Because I have something complimentary to say about Brett, but I'm gonna hold it for a second. This man said this nonsense. This man said this nonsense. Saying this, he said he's going to be at the game in Austin. It's not like he's going to Lubbock. You know what I'm saying? Like he's coming. He's already telling us.
Oh man, I'm gonna be at that game too. I'm gonna be at that game too.
He's a marked man.
Let me see him.
You know what I'm saying?
I just said it was on site. I said it was on site for a reason. This man literally just put his location. That dude dropped a pin. How do you drop a pin like that, bro? You don't drop a pin when you know people listening.
Somebody want them paws on him, man.
Somebody want them paws walk in with him to get him in. They got to put Ty. They won't shoot at Ty, but they may hit him.
Oh man.
Oh my goodness.
He's lucky Austin's not really like that though, in terms of like that type of stuff. Like you know how it is. Some of these towns, these college, you put that energy out there this early, and you show up like Lubbock. If it was the other way around.
Or stir up like Baton Rouge or Tuscaloosa. You know what I'm saying?
You try that in Baton Rouge. I double dog dare you.
Dog dare you. Hell
they will not care what commissioner of what. Who are you, Commissioner Gordon? We put you in the wagon and let's go, bro. Like, what are you talking about, yo? Anyway, I will say this though. He's playing to for Chris brought up politics. He's playing to his base. It's a
He
political move.
Yeah,
He's
that's true.
playing to his
Fair
base.
point.
Those are his constituents long term. Those are the people he's going to be serving long term. If you're a Texas Tech person, and especially if you're, we're talking about people that are ADs and folks that are really high up in these schools, right? You feel really good about what Britt has done since he's come on board. The aggressive moves, the strategic moves, and how he is served. He is talking to his base, and he does not give a damn. And so, at the end of the day, all I'm saying is, if you're Texas or OU, all week, once y'all made it, y'all shot the first shot, right? Like, if we're talking about trash talk and all this type of stuff, we decided to break up with you. Okay, cool. Now you want to start putting DMs out public and doing all this messy stuff. Now I'm gonna have to expose you. That's where I'm at with my energy post.
Hey, John Russell, in the words of Debo from Friday, you want some of this too, old man? Nope.
Nope. Messing with these nice people.
Hey, man, look here, dude. I get it. He's playing to his base, but he also has to know his position too. And honestly, I don't think he gives a damn, but it is what it is. That's why I've been on the record that you're never going to hear me scream SEC, SEC, SEC. You're never going to hear me scream that.
Come on.
When Texas and OU, I'm going to put that energy out there. When Texas and OU make it to the Big 12 championship game, when Texas wins, I'm going to be on the field yelling SEC, SEC, SEC. And then I'm going to,
want to.
I'm going to get Chris, to come on the field with me, like just like a little small losing effort to have him plant the SEC flag in the middle of the stadium. And then I send them back while Texas celebrates. But other than that, folks,
that's right.
We got a 10 burger right here, man. Not a 50.
Yeah, why is it?
But it's a little something. Keep up the good content. Man, appreciate that, Derek, man. Appreciate that, Derek Wisner. I think that is Trey Wisner's uncle, right, Derek? I'm pretty sure. But, man, appreciate that. If you guys don't know who Trey Wisner is, he is one of the top recruits that came in at Texas this previous season out of DeSoto High School. So,
I've been commenting for a minute now.
Yeah,
appreciate
man.
you.
Appreciate that, Derek.
Yeah, Derek's been on here for a minute.
Yeah, man. Appreciate that, brother. Next topic, guys. I think we talked about this idiot enough, man. I ain't giving him no more of my attention. I think we all understand that when he comes to Texas, he's going to have a full body of security and he's going to be in some suite and not be able to get touched. That would be his smartest move. But it's all
I just want to see his face. I just want to see his face on the jumbotron as we put 70 on old boy's head from Texas Tech. He got me so mad. Can't even say his damn name right now. Joey McGuire. Yeah, no, as we putting 70 on Joey's head, I want to see Brett's face on the jumbotron, and then I want to see Brett again hand me my trophy in Arlington the following week. That's my dream.
Oh man, okay. Exactly. All right, folks, man. Next topic. Preseason all SEC teams were announced earlier this week. Let me go ahead and share the screen so we can start to see what this is. And if you guys can see that screen, you guys see it?
Yes, sir.
All right. Starting quarterback, man, Jaden Daniels. How about this? What on this list do you guys think doesn't need to be here? Who do you think needs to be elevated? Let's start with the quarterback position. Is Jaden Daniels the right pick there for quarterback?
No.
Who you thinking, Ty?
No. Look, and guys, I have been a Jaden Daniels
apologist. Yeah,
for a long. KJ Jefferson is Timothy.
He is.
That is disrespectful. He is going to be such a big reason for any success Arkansas has this year. Because let's get very real about Arkansas. I'm not too sure what their wide receiver situation is looking like. They got some guys in from recruiting that they're high on, but, a game hasn't been played yet. We'll see. Defensively, that secondary was not good last year. They lose Drew Sanders and Bumper Pool off of that defense. Good. KJ Jefferson is going to be such a big part of that offense. I get it. They have Rocket Sanders. He's a bad, bad man. But are we going to pretend like KJ Jefferson hasn't been one of the steadier forces at quarterback in the SEC? Jaden Daniels is very talented. I think he is going to have a huge year. Personally, I hope he has a career year this year, but I just feel like this has got to be KJ Jefferson at the quarterback position.
Well, first off, man, let me preface this with saying this. Out of the 22 players on first team, offense or defense, 18 of them come from 3 teams: Alabama, LSU, Georgia. That's how top heavy the conference is.
I'm seeing a lot of
SEC. SEC.
I'm seeing an awful lot of G on this list.
L's and G's everywhere, baby.
Oh, man. All right, so what Chris's and Steven and Jay's thoughts on the quarterback position, man?
I'll jump in real quick on it. I mean, I totally agree with Ty. Well, let's put it like this. I can't argue with Ty when it comes to the KJ Jefferson statement. It makes sense. The question is, why isn't he considered the top one? Because, statistically, he's the one that be, putting up the numbers and carrying that Arkansas team. I think the other thing is that health-wise is the question with KJ Jefferson coming into this next season. And can he maintain can he do something to get them 10 wins? Now, granted, we did the schedule stuff about a month or so ago when we went through Arkansas' schedule, and it looks like they are set up to perfectly go 10-2 at minimum. Yeah. There is no excuse this season. And so definitely can see why that you would have KJ Jefferson there. But I am definitely riding with Jaden Daniels because I still see LSU winning the SEC this year. And that's only because they have probably, besides KJ Jefferson, they have a more tenured quarterback while having a better defense than what Arkansas was producing. And so I know that Jaden Daniels doesn't count with the defense, but he does carry the LSU offense almost solo. He did that last season. And so I'm anticipating him doing that again, just like KJ Jefferson. But I can see the argument for both. It's something that I cannot refute.
If I may ask a question, Jay, Jaden Daniels goes down. Nussmeier comes in. How much of a drop-off does the LSU offense experience?
See, you asked a very fantastic question there, Ty. I think it will probably be minimal. And I say that because, and this is the reason why I get to Jaden Daniels, is because Jaden Daniels was able to win out over Nussmeier.
No, fair point. And Nuss is a bad man.
But you're right. But you're right, because you're 100% right. If Jaden Daniels falls, Nussmeier comes in, they probably won't see that much of a drop-off. Just maybe some experience, quote-unquote experience, but they probably won't see a big drop-off. But that's the reason why I give Jaden Daniels the nod.
And in fairness, you may be able to ask the same question about Hornsby, someone who the Arkansas people are really, really high on, right? They think
they are pretty high.
But we'll see.
But that's a very fair question to evaluate that. And that's the only reason why I give Jaden that nod is he still beat out Nussmeier. And I think Nussmeier is better than any backup in the SEC right now.
Probably. So my only thing about this is I think when the coaches voted on this, maybe it wasn't the best player is the one who they put at the number one quarterback. It's going to be the guy who's going to have the better season as a whole. And so if he has a better season as a whole, then it's going to, pretty much, put him at that top spot. I just think LSU might be primed to have a better season. They have more knowns on that team. So they're going to probably, I think LSU was locked in to win at least 10 games this year, right? I mean, that's just my opinion. I think they're locked in to win 9 to 10 games this year. If Arkansas wins 10, it's set up for them, but it would still be a stretch. It would almost be very shocking, if Arkansas won 10 games this year. Mm-hmm. It wouldn't be too much of a shock, if they won 7 games, also. And so I think it's based upon the potential of the team as a whole, and that's why Jaden Daniels got the top slot. But I'm with you, though, Ty. I was so against KJ Jefferson until, about a month ago, I went and just checked out all his film again, and I was like, what the hell was I smoking? Like, nah, this dude is the truth, man. He is the truth. So, yeah.
That's a good point.
Can I add one thing, though, in terms of the case for Jaden Daniels? We have to consider a few things with KJ. They are changing the offense. Dan Enos is coming in from Maryland, and some of the things that they did at Maryland is very, very different from what you see with the browse, beer and shoot type stuff. So I want to see how KJ, if he continues to still have that same production that he had, and a lot of the run game stuff will translate from the quarterback position. I'm not necessarily worried about that. It's more so, him kind of making that next step maturation wise in the passing game from under center and doing a little bit more complex stuff in what Dan Enos is going to ask him to do. With Jaden Daniels, though, I think, Ty, you make a really, really good point when you compare him to Nussmeier versus the Arkansas thing. We have to remember Malik Hornsby transferred to Texas State, so he's not even there anymore.
That's right. That's right.
Totally forgot about that.
Yep,
their
that's right.
backup situation is I'm not going to say compromised, but they have a transfer in there, and I think the other two guys are freshmen. So from a need standpoint, leaning on KJ, that quarterback room, I would argue LSU probably has a better overall quarterback room than Arkansas, but I definitely can see the case being made for KJ. The thing with Jaden Daniels is he was really, really good protecting the football last year. I think he only threw like two picks the whole season.
Mm-hmm.
He's really, really good on third down, and he's really good in the red zone run pass threat. So I think they're also banking on continuity, there with BK, and we should see an uptick in production this year. That's what I'm thinking. But to me, I would probably lean KJ, but I'm not upset and outraged that Jaden Daniels is first team SEC QB. I get it.
Yeah. Chris, how about you, man?
Point.
I tend to agree with you, Nick, about your point. I think they gave it to him because they feel they're going to have the better season. Jaden Daniels is talented. I'm not going to take that away from him, but I think that you potentially have some guys in the SEC that could rival his numbers and rival his production as well. I think that it's a big if to ask simply because we all know that he has to be mentally fit, and I'm talking about Spencer Rattler. No, not a lot of people are gonna take kind to that, but I would say Spencer Rattler is a guy. I think KJ Jefferson should have been probably the quarterback on that board as far as the first team is concerned, in my opinion, simply because of all the production and everything he has. I think Jaden Daniels and LSU they caught a buzz, they caught a groove last year, and they rode a wave. I'm eager to see them against Florida State because I think that game's going to tell me a lot of what I need to know about him if he's ready to take that next step along with LSU as far as being national championship contenders. But I definitely, I think that, rightfully so, it's cool. You could have went between him or KJ, but I do think that there's other quarterbacks in the by the time the season is done. I think I would say Spencer simply because I think that he could potentially put up some big numbers this year. I know he lost his offensive coordinator, but I just think he's finally in a situation I think he feels comfortable in. And then
you were being really nice today. I really you really meant what you said about this truce. It was just 2 weeks ago you said you trusted Jalen Milroe more than you trusted Jaden Daniels.
I was just about to get to that. I would say Spencer Rattler, and then my sleeper would be Milroe. I think Milroe has a chance to really be dynamic out there with his legs and his feet, and I think that he's gonna set the SEC on fire. It's gonna be a nightmare for teams to game plan. Y'all will see game 2.
But the fun thing though about this is Chris's other favorite quarterback, Joe Milton, wasn't even mentioned yet.
No.
Is anybody – the thing about this is I think KJ, from a standpoint of what he has done, made sense to be the first-team guy. However, it would not surprise me if it's Spencer Rattler and Devin Leary as your first team and second-team quarterbacks in the season, or Joe Milton.
I forgot about Leary.
Yeah.
Would you be shocked, though, or if Will Rogers sneaks up on here, if we want to talk about people that deserve respect for what they've done? To me, this is as open as I've seen this conference in a while with this quarterback position during the amount of names.
Yeah.
Dude, Leary might be the wild card.
Stevens' boy, Peyton Thorne down there with Hugh Freeze. Potentially that could be something.
All right.
Oh man, no, but Leary might be a wild card in this one, man. You look at it. This is a guy that went 9-2 2 years ago, or 9-3 2 years ago. was balling out last year.
35 tutties at NC State, brother.
Yeah, man.
Extremely talented.
He's a talented dude, and he's coming there. I think he's going to run the offense at Kentucky better than what's the guy who just left to go to the league? I ain't really
Will Levis.
Yeah, Levis. I was never impressed with Levis. But anyways, I like Leary, man. He could be a definite wild card. And Chris is right too, though, man. If Jalen Milroe, if they marry up a system, this is all assuming that Milroe wins the starting quarterback position, which hasn't been named yet. But I think everybody understands that he's probably going to be the guy. If they run a system that complements not only his passing ability, but his, him just running the ball as well, hey, man, that could be something special, man. I'm a big Milroe fan. I loved him when he was in high school. So it's going to be very interesting to see how that translates over to Tuscaloosa here for this year.
Can we this may be a little bit off topic. It's still on this list, but I just want to say one thing. There's a guy on here that I don't think he's known, but I think that he's very underrated. Lad McConkey over there.
I was just about to say McConkey.
Hey, I seen Lad run some routes, man, and put some people on some skates, and I'm like, hey, that kid was a 5-star coming out of high school. That kid is elite as it's going to get in college football.
He's coming up
as in a slot. I'm like,
He's coming up.
Boys on skates now. I've seen him.
He's a fun player to watch.
Good.
Yeah.
His route tree is good. Yeah. I was like, hey, Lad. It's crazy because I don't know what star recruit he was coming out of high school or whatnot, but I just know that obviously you wouldn't expect him to be pretty much the number one guy outside of Brock Bowers for Georgia. But I mean, he gets it done any way you want it. He can go inside, he can go outside. You can sneak him all over the field, put him all over the field, and he's going to get it done against any matchup.
Yeah, I agree too.
Even on adding that, I see Drew popped in here on Drew England, our boy, popped in with Jackson Dart. And kind of curious what y'all think about him over there at Ole Miss. Now, granted, I am surprised that Joe Milton did not get mentioned in this, but at the same time, I know why he didn't get mentioned in this is because we need to see him actually do it. Now, he ain't no bum. Shut up. He ain't no bum. But we do need to see him actually show that he has control on that arm. If he shows, if Joey Halsey goes there, moves up to offensive coordinator, quarterback coach, and he's able to control that arm. Because Joe Milton's been there 3 years, remember. So this is his third season going in here. So he's got experience. He started the first year, got taken out for Hendon Hooker, the next year behind Hendon Hooker. Now he has the job. He's got a lot of experience in this system. And if he can show us something like he did in the Orange Bowl when they beat Clemson, he may sneak in there and be something special. Just throwing it out there.
Hey, man, Steven said it. This is a wide open year for the quarterback position. I think the last 2 seasons, we all understood who was going to be the top, guy in the league, and that was Bryce, right? I mean, it was understood. And it was pretty much who was coming from Alabama was going to be the top guy, minus the year in 2019 when Joe Burrow just went crazy, right? But they had great coordinators, whether it's Lane Kiffin or Sark. And now, look, man, I like Reese. I think Reese is going to do great things too. So you kind of knew who was going to be the guy that was going to be the top guy there in the conference. This year, it's wide open, man. It's wide open.
Next Thursday, be prepared for greatness to shine. Ain't that right, Steven?
Next Thursday,
Florida versus Utah.
Utah?
It's next Thursday?
Oh, you see, in my mind, hey, God bless you, brother. I was still in week 0.
Oh, man, I was like, what is Chris talking about?
It's true.
If I may interject, and this isn't on this topic, so if we want to sideline this for the very end, but a point we might need to talk about, guys, Jaden Rashada was just named quarterback 1 at Arizona State. If Mertz, and I sent this in the chat, if Mertz is pedestrian, which, let's be honest, I think Mertz is probably going to be a guy where he might not be the reason you lose a game, but he might not be the reason you win a game either, right?
That's how I feel.
Yeah, that's, I think, what you're going to get, which in some cases isn't the worst. But if Jaden Rashada goes out there and shows, no, I have the ability, like I have the juice, we're going to have some fun conversations now.
Oh, man.
Something to think
Cam
about.
Rising is out.
Fun.
He won't play that game.
Yeah.
This is fun too because we really didn't have a single, like, I think to start all of 2022, we didn't have a single true freshman starter like that at the beginning of the season. Now, what we saw play out at Vanderbilt, Kurt Warner's son at Temple eventually taking over, Cade Klubnik at Clemson eventually taking over. If you want to count Quinn Ewers, I mean, he bypassed it, but we didn't have anything like this, right? And I think the Rashada situation and the Dante Moore situation at UCLA is very interesting to look at for how this season goes. But I'm really excited to see how the Rashada situation plays out. And like Ty said, juxtaposed against what we see with Florida. That's a good point.
Yeah. Now, yes, yeah, Ty. Let's table that for the end, man, because that's a good conversation. I think that's going to have to be had because, dude, if they start balling out, man, I feel bad for Napier, man. It just is what it is. But let's go down to the running backs, and man, I love Judkins. I mean, he's he might be pound for pound. He might be the best running back in the nation. I'm gonna go ahead and say it. I love him.
Ooh.
He might prove it this year.
You said Judkins?
Yes, love
Dog.
him. Love him. Look, man, we saw what he did last year as a true freshman. We saw what he did. I mean, and let's be honest, he was sitting behind Zach. Zach goes to the league. This is his team now. And if Zach Evans ain't there, man, Judkins goes for a shit ton more yards last year, man. I mean, he was physically ready. He's as a true freshman physically ready. Go ahead, Chris.
Only problem with that is, one, I don't want him to be a workhorse for me because that spells disaster, because that means that Jackson Dart is doing the same thing he did last year, which is good but not good enough. And then Spencer or Spencer Sanders is out there doing what he does best and looks good the first 3-4 games, and then here we go. 4 picks here, 4 picks there, 4 picks everywhere. Let's be that. Right? That's what he does. So I mean, it's kind of one of those things where can Kiffin can he really bring the best out of one of those two? And we all know Kiffin is a brilliant offensive mind. I think that he knows his offense and he knows what he needs to get out of it. I think that if you want to have packages for both of them, you're perfectly fine, but you're going to have to figure something out. It scares me, the fact that I know that we're still a week away technically from season starting, but damn, have they named Jackson Dart as the starter?
They haven't named
No, Judkins is the running back and the quarterback at Old
Miss. He has to be. He's the cheerleader. He's the booster. He's everything. I mean,
he's offensive coordinator.
No, I was about to say, actually, an article just came out. Interestingly enough, they named him defensive coordinator. So we're going to get our first opportunity to see a running back serve as an active defensive coordinator. It's going to be interesting to see.
Oh, man.
Hey, that's innovative. That's Lane Kiffin, baby. That's innovation. That's what you do.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. They hired Pete Golding. Just call a wheel route.
Oh, just call it right. It's a wrap.
Just call the wheel.
Hey, Chris, this is my thing about this, though, man. Judkins split carries last year with Zach Evans, right?
Yeah.
Judkins almost had 1,600 yards last year, right? And, I mean, Zach had almost 1,000 yards last year. Judkins is going to get the ball a lot. I mean, he got the ball a lot last year. I mean, dude, I don't care who the quarterback. He's one of those guys, man. When he gets in a rhythm, it's a wrap, especially in Lane Kiffin's offense, man. Dude, he might be the best running back in the country. He might be the best running back in the country. Man, I just love his game, dude. I just love his game.
He made. I think this running back situation on this list is. This and tight end are the easiest no-brainers for the SEC offense, right? You have Rocket Sanders, you have Judkins, you set it and forget it. You got Brock Bowers at tight end, set it and forget it, right? There's not really an argument or conversation that needs to be had other than just giving these brothers their flowers.
Yeah,
I agree, Nino, with the way he's going to be utilized, but we also got to factor in too. Ole Miss is – I've yet to see Lane struggle to find a second back when he has a really good runner like this, he always seems to have another guy that can be very, very productive, whether it's goal line or spelling somebody. So I'm not worried about Judkins getting run to the ground. I think it's just going to be. I mean, you can make the argument he's the top 3 player in the SEC overall. And that's very, very high praise for this young man. But same thing with Rocket Sanders. I think Rocket Sanders was like second team All-American for AP.
Man,
like
Rocket Sanders is another beast. I mean, what's he, 6'2", 230? You know what I'm saying? Like he's a big kid with wheels, averaging over 6 yards a carry in the SEC. I mean, he's that guy. And you pair that with KJ, because we all know KJ can run the ball. But then if you pair that with Rocket too as well, man, it's scary as hell in that back. It's scary, man. So yeah, I think the first team running back, no brainer. No brainer. Any questions from y'all guys? Any comments?
No arguments for me.
I think the only way this list gets broken up is injury. If injury occurs. Other than that, I think these 2 runners are your first team.
Yeah. Now,
huh? I have one thing, though. I think 2 things. One, it's crazy how Judkins was a 3-star prospect and he goes out there and does what he does. Kind of reminds you to always, pay attention to talent and be careful with the stars. But
exactly.
That one running back at Alabama that I'm really curious. He has like the perfect running back name, Richard Young.
Oh, Richard Young. Oh yeah, 5-star.
He has a name. He has a name of a running back, and I'm just wondering if he's going to start supplanting everybody there at some point. Just throwing it out there.
I like him. I like Miller too. I think Miller's a beast too. Todd could probably talk. So Todd could probably talk better.
Justice Haynes.
Justice Haynes.
That's my guy.
He is.
Haynes is cool, but he just doesn't have the Richard Young name. Richard Young sounds like an NFL running back, like legit.
Nah, man.
Yeah.
Richard Young sounds like
Mark
like he owns a law firm. Richard Young Law Firm.
Richard Young.
Richard Young.
I'll tell you what stands out to me, though, guys. Let's look down at this at the offensive line.
Let's go down.
What do you see? I see a lot of Georgia.
Exactly.
Georgia.
Good
Georgia.
Lord.
Georgia. You got a Bama guy and you got a LSU guy, right?
Jeez Louise.
Are they 66% of the first team? Is my math accurate on that?
It's stupid.
Surfer Boy shows up right on time, doesn't he?
That's why I highlighted him, because I know he's going to start talking shit.
That's so impressive, man. That's so impressive.
Hold on. Hey, man, Stephen Houston goes, Jamario Miller is a running back name. Richard Young sounds like he sells insurance. Oh, man. Surfer Boy says, we loaded for the pay. Yeah, look, they are loaded. Tom,
for now.
That offensive line.
That's ridiculous. That's all. I mean, good for them. That's ridiculous.
No matter who plays quarterback.
Carson Beck could be the guy that finishes as the top quarterback in the SEC this year.
You saw he got the fade.
I was about to say it, Ty. He got the fade. It's a wrap. He got that Stetson fade, man.
Yeah, he got the fade. He
got that low cut Caesar.
Done. Might as well pack
Looking
it up.
like the professor out there.
One mixtape ass.
I don't know if y'all have seen Trailer Park Boys, but I sent the J-Rock clip in the chat the other day. He's going to be the Georgia's very own J-Rock.
Yeah, here goes Surfer Boy. Beck for Heisman. Here we go again.
Can I add one tidbit about the offense? And by the way, Anaya Smith getting all-purpose player, I think that's well deserved based upon the career he's had at A&M. Hopefully he comes back healthy and has a great finish to his career. Else he probably would have been in the league if not for last year's injury. I think I don't know if he even comes back if not for the injury. Receiver wise,
I want to talk about this. Yeah.
As much as I love Ladd McConkey, I'm a Ladd McConkey guy. And if it's a game that matters, Ladd McConkey's my guy. But we also know that this is a stat race too. And my thing is, I don't see Ladd is the guy that's going to eat when they play Tennessee and some of the big games, but he may not go off enough to justify being here over somebody like a Evan Stewart,
I
who's
knew
going to
it.
get a
I
crap
knew
load
it.
of targets. I'm just saying.
Obsession.
Oh man,
Obsession
come
with
on.
Evan
I'm just
Stewart.
saying. I'm just saying. Because
Okay.
to have two Georgia pass catchers on here is pretty aggressive considering the nature of, I'm pretty sure Bobo's going to do the same thing that, oh boy, that just went to the Ravens did. But I would probably have Evan Stewart in this group, but Lad McConkey, in terms of if we're talking about the playoffs, like I said, games that matter, McConkey's my guy through and through. He's been delivered. But I don't know. Like Antoine Wells has had a 900-yard season, a 1,200-yard season. Malik Neighbors went over 1,000 yards last year. Like those are the type of numbers you're going to have to put up to be first team all SEC offense if you're a receiver.
And also, let's just be honest. How many yards is Lad McConkey going to get this year? Brock Bowers is going to get the lion's share of all the receptions on that team. I think he almost had 1,000 yards last year. I don't think anybody on Georgia had 1,000 yards receiving last year. I think the ball is going to get spread around a lot, and I don't think he's going to even have the stats that are going to be, actually worthy enough to get a first-team All-SEC. I'm with Steven on this. Talking talent.
Ladd had 762 yards last season, and they played like 18 games.
Look, I like Ladd a lot. Dude is clutch.
He's
when
clutch.
you need to play, he's gonna make it. But I do agree. Look, as much as Steven, Evan Stewart is one of the most gifted wide receivers I've ever seen live.
He's different.
Just totally different. So yeah, I think if that offense gets it together, he's going to have a huge season.
But then again, Ty, I think that's why people might think that he might not be a first teamer, because the big question is that if that offense gets on track.
And that's fair. But Steven, if you could highlight Steven Houston's comment right here.
Course, yeah,
because he gives you two other names, right? And I want to focus on the last one. He says Brew McCoy at Tennessee.
Ooh.
Brew McCoy was having a good year. Barry and Brown at Kentucky. You give him Leary. That young man put the SEC in college football on notice. He's likely to take the first kickoff to the house and then take the first bubble screen 75 yards to the crib. That kid is different.
I think
Steven,
you're right.
You're 100% right. You're 100%. I changed my answer.
Yeah.
You're 100% right. Barry and Brown.
Hey, Ty, you're right, man, because Barry and Brown was a true freshman last year, right? That's a dude who had about 800 yards receiving.
Yeah.
That dude's a beast. That dude's a monster.
Kentucky beat Bama for him. Thank you, Coach Eric Wolford, while he was at Kentucky. Now he's at Bama.
Dude, I totally forgot about Barry and Brown, and we've talked about him on this show quite a bit.
Yep.
Man, you're right, man. Evan Stewart, Barry and Brown, even Brew McCoy, man. Look, I know Ladd, people like him. They like him. It is what it is, but
they should like him. Ladd's great player.
No, he's a great wide receiver. But when I look at a guy like Barry and Brown, and when I look at a guy like Evan Stewart, those guys have first round potential. Like those guys are the wide receivers that get drafted in the first round.
And Moose Muhammad is cold.
I was just about to say Moose Muhammad, man, gets it on, man.
He does. Golly, man. There's so much talent, dude, at the wide receiver position. Man, look, I was listening to a podcast, from Rob Babers at Texas, and he was basically saying that the wide receiver position is the most loaded position in college football. That's why you can always go get talent up and down the draft from the first round to the seventh round, because there's so much damn wide receiver talent, man. And this just goes to show you, like, Barry and Brown was one of my favorite players to talk about this year, and I just totally forgot about him. That's how much wide receiver talent is in that conference, man. So Evan Stewart, Brew McCoy, who was lost for a couple of years, goes to Tennessee, and You guys on?
Oh
Something
yeah.
something just went wacky there.
That's wild.
Yeah, so defensive line, geez, I mean, the usual suspects. Yeah, Dallas Turner at linebacker, Harold Perkins. Yes,
Oh
that's
yeah.
easy. I mean, this is like I have no complaints on anything on this list, guys. On not a damn thing on this list. One thing I do think that might interrupt this list, and this is a dude over there in Alabama and Caleb Downs with him getting a lot of touches this year and starts this year. He might be one of the guys to upset somebody and take out one of those safety spots. That's just my opinion. People don't understand how good Caleb Downs is. People think just because he's a freshman that he's going to have his freshman mistakes. His dad is a Division I DB coach right now. This is not your normal freshman, folks. Not your normal freshman. I'm pretty sure Ty can pretty much talk about this even more because he follows Alabama so much. Kid special.
Tell him who his uncle is. Nino,
Who is his uncle? Who's his uncle?
Dre Bly.
Oh, it's a wrap. There you go.
Tell him who his brother is. Josh Downs.
There you go.
That just got drafted. Caleb Downs comes from a family of ready-made football players.
It's a wrap.
He is that dude. He is spectacular. Now, don't get me wrong. Bullard, McGlothern, no arguments here.
Yeah.
Both fantastic. I'll tell you who I'm really excited to watch is Malachi Starks.
Yeah.
Really excited for Malachi Starks. He's a phenomenally talented prospect. I mean, goodness, Caleb Downs, I think, could be on here, but like I said, those guys are very talented. Harold Perkins is one of the easiest selections on this list. Like,
Exactly.
Him and Mason Smith are the two names that just were automatically going to get put on here. Even though Mason Smith's not going to play game one.
I'm so sad about that. I'm so excited to see him back healthy.
Yeah, it's going to be stupid. Yeah, and that's why I was so heavy on LSU, man. Georgia's definitely leading all the preseason stuff, man. But as the season goes on, LSU's going to shock some folks, man, on both sides of the ball.
Ty,
and they're so well coached.
My question for you is Kool-Aid going to exceed the hype this year?
I think so. I think Kool-Aid is going to be in for a really strong season. I just think that he's a very fundamentally sound defensive back. I mean, yes, he can get into some PI problems, but that's because he's a physical defensive back. If you go back to high school, like, he is a defensive back that has no problem at all with contact. And I think that's kind of a thing that Bama and specifically Nick Saban likes, is that physicality. So it's one of those things where we roll the dice with it. No, I'm super excited for Kool-Aid. I'm really excited for the Alabama secondary. I think that could be a really strong part. And what better way to test it than week two with a game where the opponent is, for right now, out of conference, where whoever wins that game, whoever loses that game, they still have conference play in the college football playoffs right in front of them. And for Bama specifically, testing your secondary against that wide receiving core, that quarterback, and most importantly, that offensive mind, that's everything you could ask for. Week two, come on now, that's fantastic. But I think Kool-Aid is that guy. Yeah,
he is.
I think Ty, you would also love to see Malachi Moore step up here too. I think he made second team.
Yep, and he's finally healthy. He has been dealing with a back injury, which, if you guys know, those are very difficult.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Now, guys, I'm honestly, I want to see Harold Perkins in his second year. I want to just see the maturation process of him. We saw what he did as a true freshman last year. I want to see just how good he is going to be overall again. I mean, he's going to get better this year. And it's just like we saw just how great he was last year. And it's like we know that he will get better. It's just like how many steps is he going to take to get better? He's going to be awesome this year, dude.
One thing I want to pay attention to with Harold Perkins, Nino, to that point is where, and this is something I think as we get advanced in technology and especially with TV broadcasts, is telling us real time where guys are lining up every play and where his snaps are coming from. They did a great job of doing this a few years back with what's his name that went to Clemson. That was Isaiah Simmons.
They used
to tell us, oh, he's in the nickel now he's on the edge, now he's at weak side. And so Harold Perkins, and I say that because the thing around LSU is, hey, getting him to play more traditional linebacker, what he was recruited for, And last year they just kind of rolled him out of bed, playing a lot of edge and just getting after the quarterback, kind of like Micah Parsons in that sense. And I think us as Texas fans, we're kind of watching this as the blueprint for what we're doing with Anthony Hill.
Exactly.
And how we develop him, right? And so seeing Harold Perkins in year 2, he's probably going to have a lot.
Let's see Harold Perkins. How big is Harold Perkins, man?
Your internet keeps messing up because nobody wants to hear y'all talk about Texas, okay?
Oh, get out of here. Get out of here.
Y'all are pushing it. That's all I got to say.
Get out of here.
Let's talk
How big
football,
is Harold
not
Perkins,
bones.
man? We're talking about LSU. He's about 6'3", 220.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, one of the selling factors for LSU is they told him, we will line you up everywhere. Now, I could be wrong on that, but like his athletic ability is spectacular. And I know they want to get him a more dedicated linebacker, but I mean, Steven, it's funny you say that because I was just talking the other day in a live about Anthony Hill, and Harold Perkins inevitably came up because of the usage and how Anthony Hill has been rushing off the edge for y'all. And I was talking to Homer, and he is real excited for Anthony Hill. So that's going to be a lot of fun to see.
Yep, a whole lot. All right, Chris is getting frustrated here. We won't talk about Texas no more. I think the first team. I think we got. Look, I don't see any hiccups in the first team defense. I'm not gonna go into the second team, folks. We've already been here like an hour already. But I'm surprised Ty didn't mention Dallas Turner, man. That's your guy, Ty. We ain't talking about Dallas Turner.
I just think that's automatic. I think it's understood. You know what I mean?
No, guys like Dallas Turner, Harold Perkins. There's a handful of guys, right? I even put this to Malachi Starks. Those are guys where you're like, hey, go, even JDJ too.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the guys where you're like, dude, go win SEC Defensive Player of the Year. Like that's kind of if you're Nick Saban, you're talking to Dallas Turner. That's kind of like the benchmark. I feel like, Ty, right? Like, this isn't about making preseason. We already know what it is. You're already a chew.
This is your year.
Yeah, I mean he looks to be the next first rounder out of Bama, right? At that position, he has all the tools, and so that's why I ultimately did. And I think you hit the nail on the head, Steven. That's why JDJ, I didn't say anything about him because it's almost understood. Or a Michael Williams, right? Where it's like, yeah, you of course you're on this list. Like,
exactly.
Of course you're here.
So, Chris,
I was just gonna say once we get done with this, man, we got football this weekend, man. We gotta kind of highlight some of the football that's taking place, man, to end the show.
San Jose State is getting sacrificed this weekend.
I don't know. No, I'm playing. Ty's face probably was like, "Oh my god!" No,
this is really exciting.
Maybe you knew something I did.
0 games.
Hey, Navy, Notre Dame. That's a game I'm watching. I'm just letting y'all know I'm kind of watching that. I'm rooting for Marcus Freeman, but that's
Thursday, right?
That's Saturday.
Okay, that one's Saturday. Okay.
Yeah, we don't get Thursday games until the very next week, which will be Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. The big game, LSU against
birthday present. My birthday's on Saturday in football.
Nobody cares, but still,
you can't ask for anything better.
God, that was just rude.
The truth has already been broken.
Oh man, I know.
Nah, you broke that a while. Nick broke that a while ago. I just let him slide today.
What I do? What I do, man?
I heard your little comment about Texas winning that, and me coming out on the field and stuff like that. With recall on that, just be a ASSS.
I'm just messing with you.
Boy, a quick can.
I'm just messing with you. But now, man. Honestly, I think we're good here for the for the preseason SEC All Americans. I don't think like the second team. I don't think we have to go through that. We'll just kind of scroll through, but like the usual names, man. Jace McClellan, which I think is going to be kind of interesting. I think that was just kind of a name basis. I think their room is so stacked at running back at Bama that he might not even be the guy that's going to get the most yards on that team.
This is Jace's year. He's finally
100%.
I think that if he's healthy If he gets to finish the year healthy, he's going to have a huge, huge year. I'm really excited for Jace, man. Really excited for Jace.
My boy Kieran said they got Jace back on the anabolics. That's all. That was Kieran's word.
Oh man, that's craziness. All right, we're done with the schedules. You guys want to talk about some some key starters being named? Let's talk about.
Yeah. So, and this kind of goes in the sentiment of what Ty had brought up with Rashada, right? So Graham Mertz won the job at Florida, and these are some of the also rans that I think we'll see in the conference. No disrespect, Peyton Thorne, as we tried to tell Chris, we tried to explain to Chris that Hugh Freeze looked at that room for months and knew he needed to bring another quarterback in.
Hugh doesn't know what he's doing right now. He hasn't made the correct calls. The burner phones aren't working because obviously Robbie Ashford, he's going to come in at some point in the season. Because obviously if Peyton Thorne is what you're rolling out there with, I'm not impressed.
I love when we can tell exactly who has their NIL deal set up with Chris. He rides for his guys.
He does.
He rides for his guys. I give him that.
You gotta give him his props on that.
Shout out to Robbie Ashford, man.
Chris just passed his agent exam, so he's already got him signed. Yeah, man.
I love Chris, but I can't agree with that one at all.
Me neither. I want to talk about Florida though, man. I want to talk about Mertz. So me and Chris have been talking about Mertz and how kind of mid he is, right? And what's wrong, Steven?
It just sounds so disrespectful.
I mean, we're going to see this year.
About how mid that guy is.
Yeah, I mean, so we're going to see this year. Yeah, man. Rashada's going to be a dude. He might not be outstanding at Arizona State this year, but he's going to be pretty damn good. And we're going to already see from day one how much Florida's going to miss their kid and that they wish that they would have paid him his deal that he was supposed to get from the start because he's going to be a game changer.
Nino, did you look at the comment section under the Rashada post?
No.
It felt like it was like half Florida fans. And then you had a whole bunch of people who were like already going in on Billy Napier. Like it was like, where are the Arizona State people that are excited about this? The whole post.
So the Florida fans were going on Napier like Texas fans were going on Tom Herman when we lost viewers.
On an Arizona State post.
It's just like they're just like we can't have nice things, and then the whole Netflix series comes out this week too, so they're probably like kind of seeing the good old days of Tebow and Chris Leak, and then like I think Mertz got named as starting quarterback the day before, and it's probably just pissed him off, man. So it is what it is. Mertz is mid, right, Chris?
It's fair.
Got to do a news.
About as mid as the Atlantic, at least is from what y'all are saying. I was doing that message the other day saying, "Hey, big dog, man, use this as motivation, man." Y'all saw it in the chat.
Saw it in the chat, man. Beck, man, Carson Beck, Georgia starter. Thoughts, folks? What do you guys' thoughts?
Knows the offense, can run it well, can be efficient. May have he's more talented than Stetson Bennett, but can he put it all together like Stetson did?
Yeah, that's the question.
If he does, then Georgia, there's no reason why Georgia shouldn't be playing for a national championship, let alone doing a three-peat.
And here's what I'm most interested in, because right now, and Surfer, you can talk more about this than me, but one Georgia running back out for the year, the other Georgia running back questionable for game one. Look, I am not so worried about Carson Beck because it goes back to something I talk about all the time. If you have a new quarterback, which Georgia has, check. If you have a new offensive coordinator, in theory, they do. He was the analyst there last year under Munkin, and he's been there before, right? Bobo has been there before, and the offense under him, they had some years where it was very efficient. But if you have a new offensive coordinator, new quarterback, good running back play, good tight end play can be that offensive coordinator, that quarterback's best friend. They have the best tight end room in the nation, right? So it's not like Beck has to do a whole lot. He just doesn't have to make mistakes.
Yeah.
And I think they're going to capitalize on that because they have playmakers that can create for Beck as opposed to Beck having to create for the playmakers. And so that's with Georgia, it's just about weathering the storm, right? Like how efficiently can you weather the storm? How much can you play within the offense instead of trying to make the offense play within you?
Stetson Bennett last year, he kept a lot of possessions alive, a lot of plays alive as well. Just being able to move the pocket, just his command alone. But he should have been doing that in year 2 as a full-time starter, not looking over his shoulder, just looking forward, right? So that's kind of what you're wanting to see, and it's hard to really discredit him. I mean, hell, he's going to make an NFL roster, I believe. He should. Stetson Bennett was a guy. He proved himself.
Terrific so far. At the
It's Chargers, right?
I thought he was with the Rams. Yeah.
Yeah,
Regardless, though, I think Beck has the potential to be just as good. And like Ty said, I mean, come on, man. When they're able to run jet sweeps with their tight end, come on, man. Like it's not like he has to go out there and really do a whole bunch. I mean, it's NCAA. It's like, hey, you're going out there with the number 2 team. What are you doing trying to run something, totally different? Just do what you do. Defensively, they should just be fine. I think that you can ride it out with the defense. But my question is do we see, is there a regression? Do we, as good as Jake Fromm could have been or was at times, he just couldn't get the job done. So do we regress back to that team?
Mm-hmm.
Or do we continue moving forward with what you've seen now with the best version of Georgia yet?
They've got as favorable as a schedule as you could possibly want.
It's easy, dude. That schedule's
I
easy.
think it's an interesting space for Beck because if they don't win, how much blame does he get? What's the context there? If they, when I say don't win, we're talking about a national championship and completing this three-peat. So there's hell of expectations there. Let's just be honest, right?
Yeah, that's true.
And
that's true.
I mean, the Georgia machine is a real thing. I mean, even before Stetson became the guy, we got to remember JT Daniels was there tearing it up for some time, even before that. And some of the guys that have been through there. Mm-hmm. My thing with Carson Beck is we saw Stetson Bennett. I think, Chris, you kind of undersold Stetson's legs. Stetson was that was like their X factor, especially last season. Mm-hmm. Stetson was running zone read like he was Eric Crouch, bro, and pulling that thing and aching it off. Okay, like look at the playoffs, right? Like the amount of plays that he would just generate action with his legs running the football, as well as movement and all those things. So you combine Stetson's confidence with his legs. Very dangerous combination. Carson Beck is we even saw him play in the national championship game because they were up by so much. He has that natural build that you would want from a pocket passing quarterback that's going to run your offense. The guy looks like Matt Ryan when he throws it. I really like what I saw in the spring. My whole thing is, do you have those X factor plays that Stetson was able to generate when you need to win or games not going well? Stetson was really good at those things, and I think that was a slight edge that Georgia had, and then winning back-to-back national championships.
Hey guys, hey Jay. So just a quick question, man. So Carson wins it. What happens with Brock, man? You know what I'm saying? What happens with Brock?
Hit that portal. That's what I was about to say. Man, look, Georgia has traditionally gotten a ton of different 5-star quarterbacks. They've gotten over the years. I mean, go back to from Matt Stafford, you can move all the way up into Justin Fields, Jake Eason. Jake Fromm was a 5-star on some. Jacob Eason, who transferred out to Washington. Fromm lasted. But Justin Fields left, as well as another 5-star. JT Daniels was transferred in. He was a 5-star. Brock Vandergift, who's now looking like he's either second or third on their list, and he's a 5-star quarterback. It's just so many of that's come through. I am very skeptical about how they perform this coming season. And so I think that could be fine, but if Alabama wasn't able to go through and do a three-peat, I am not going to say that Georgia will. I'm sorry. And we've watched the juggernauts that Alabama's put together. So I'm not going to even be able to say I have zero faith in Georgia doing it. They would have to prove me wrong. Because if Bama, as loaded as some of those rosters were, couldn't do it, I don't see that happening on their side. Now, granted, Beck's going to have to show us that he has that Stetson Bennett in him. Is someone that's got that dog, like for real dog. Because Stetson was he was completely underrated. He was a guy that no one believed in. And unfortunately, he just lied to a whole bunch of people that are 5'9", 145 pounds, thinking they can go out and walk on Georgia and play quarterback. So hopefully we don't have a whole bunch of dudes out here thinking they can do that. Some of the people probably in the comments don't believe you can do it because you can't. Stetson was really exceptional. He just was, he had to walk on twice. But I digress. I have to see what Beck can do in this offense with a new OC who was just an analyst last season. We got to see what that looks like overall. I am not sold at all on a three-peat if Nick Saban couldn't do it.
Crazy down here.
Yeah, Jake is Surfer Boy off, man.
Surfer Boy going off. Hey, you know what?
Believe me, I don't care. You got to show me.
Surfer Boy, I got your back. Jay, have y'all named a starting quarterback over there at the University of Tennessee? Have y'all named a starter yet?
At Tennessee?
Yes.
Joe Milton's been the starter since Hendon Hooker left. What are you talking about?
That's fine. I just asked you, have they publicly named him the starter yet? They can take him out on every trip they want to. I'm just saying that they just publicly named him.
They publicly named him when he won the Orange Bowl against Clemson.
Okay, Jay. All I know is this: next week, if my brothers in Christ from Texas would be so kind, the moderators of the show would be so kind to allot me 10 to 15 minutes, I'm going to bring out a dogs and bums list. I don't know where Joe Milton is going to fall, but I got a hunch.
Oh, God.
Here we go.
Here we go.
Dogs and bums. And I'm going to tell you exactly. I just got a hunch where he's going to fall.
Dude, you're Joe Milton slander. Dude, your Joe Milton slander, it might reach Jatavion Sanders, Xavier Worthy level.
This man puts in a 95, right? He clocks in on a 95.
And then get the bum list on them boys, man. What's up?
Bum list. What week did you say? Hold on, Chris. What you said a week? What week did you
say
Joe Milton
next
lose
Wednesday?
His job?
I said a weekday he was gonna lose his job. Oh,
yeah, you said by week 6 or something, Nico's gonna be starting for Tennessee.
I thought you said week 4. I thought you said week 4.
Would not be surprised.
Look at Surfer Boy. What award does the NCAA give for the furthest incompletions? That is so wrong.
That's what we're talking about, dogs and bums. I can't really. I got a hunch.
There's so much disrespect here.
The level of disrespect. I like Joe Milton. Joe Milton's going to do good, I think, man. I think it's going to be fine.
He has 2 quarterback coaches basically teaching him, former quarterbacks at Oklahoma, 2 coaches who are really good at developing quarterbacks. He will be fine.
I'm excited for him, but that's funny as hell. I don't care who you are. That's funny.
Who's the other one?
That's funny.
What, at Tennessee?
Yeah.
Joey Halsey. He was an OU quarterback as well.
The dude who lost us the game, who couldn't finish at Texas Tech and ruined that season when Bradford went down.
My God.
Or Landry, whichever one. Don't get me started on that, Jay.
He's on a warpath.
Hey, you one of my bros, bro. You don't make me do this to you, man. I want to give you that treatment, man. Trash, bro.
The disrespect.
The level of
my goodness.
Oh man, that's hilarious. That's hilarious.
Surfer.
That's funny, dude. Oh man. I
That
think
boy is made for skills competitions. We talking football right now. We go put him to the side, man. Let's not do that.
Why?
Does the
Man,
Clemson
I'm
game
done.
just not count to you, Chris?
I'm done.
Not at all.
I mean,
You think nothing?
Right, that Orange Bowl against Clemson, nothing. None of that counts. It don't count at all, dog. None of it, man. He cooked them boys. And no, it don't count.
Did you say he's only good for skills competition?
that boy is a skills competition.
That's exactly what he said.
Oh my god!
I can't wait till the season is over with, and they got the what's that ESPN special that they do? But he gonna throw the football.
Jones versus pros versus Jones.
Yeah, they gonna have to put the bucket.
Now he's going to the Olympics and going to throw the javelin, dude. He's going to fly that thing across the country. What are you talking about?
Yeah, leave the boy alone, man.
Chris is down here like The Rock in primetime wrestling era. It don't matter how many yards he can throw for.
Routes on air is different. Hey, look.
You see Surfer Boy's
Oh
comment?
my god!
You see Surfer Boy's
I
comment?
saw that mustard in the back pocket, baby. Yes, you're right.
My oldest
Balls
son
fans keep
always-
mustard. They keep Frenches on hand, baby. Frenches are on hand at all
Oh my
times.
god!
Look.
I'm
My
done with
oldest
y'all.
uncle, he always had to say, and he said, "Hey man, that's great. You can do it in practice, man. All that dunking and you shooting threes, you doing all this. You got to do it with that popcorn smell in the stadium, baby. When it's in the arena, when that popcorn is going and them fans there, and that light is beaming, you got to do it out there too. I don't know about Joe Milton. Makes me nervous.
Without hiding, he working at the hiding.
No idea Joe Milton was so polarizing.
What has happened to chat? What has happened?
Jay, I
What is up
tried
with
to
the
warn you,
slander
man. I
here?
told you to leave him alone,
This
man.
is not
I
fun.
don't put no more about.
This is
Do not talk
fun.
about Joe Milton on this channel anymore. He is banned.
This is not fun, Chris. You hold that energy when they go up when they're like 5-0 and Milton has like 10.
What did
touchdowns.
Milton do to you?
I can't, man.
Oh my god!
Well,
Milton-
Milton up there in New York at
Milton-
the Heisman ceremony, and Chris still
Yeah,
Well, Milton, let me tell you.
all of
this,
Chris's chants need to be shorts. Yes,
This
that's
is,
wow, just wow.
This is not a opinion from the SEC Connect. This is at Chris with a K.
Yeah, I don't endorse this.
I don't.
opinion.
Yeah, I don't endorse Chris's.
I do not
comments
endorse
there.
this.
So we
We don't endorse this tomfoolery from this guy.
I know this is the same dude who said JT Sanders was a non-factor.
Okay. I'm not even gonna go there. I told y'all we do it true, so I'm trying. I'm trying this hard.
Hey, at least I'm in the video trying to warn him. Right?
It's-
At least you see
I'm
me
edging.
saying,
I'm like,
Chris,
yeah. Don't
Chris, my brother in Christ, please, no, don't do this to yourself.
Don't say that.
don't do that. Don't do that to yourself. Don't do that. Here you go.
No.
Steve says, "Watch Joe Milton throw for 4,000," and Chris still call him a bum.
Wait a minute. Dogs
No,
and bomb list. Jatavian Sanders. I don't know where he's gonna fall, but I got a hunch. I got a hunch.
This is ludicrous. Look at it. Oh man, I don't need you to be my lawyer, Chris. I'm gonna tell you, man. 'cause
Ever. Goodness.
Just letting you know, I got a hunch.
I just lost my train of thought. I had something to say.
No,
man.
Steven. No, Steven. He's going to throw for 5,000 yards and 40 touchdowns, and Chris is going to say, nope, he's a bum. He's going to die on that hill.
Oh man,
I love
man.
Jay. I love your T-shirt, by the way, man. It's an awesome T-shirt, by the way.
it's pretty dope,
I
bro.
appreciate it.
Really,
Jay,
dope.
you're in a
T-shirt
hotel
game
room.
strong, baby.
Yeah, man.
I am. I'm traveling. I'm traveling this week. So
Where
yeah,
you at, Vegas?
but you know, I'm in Arkansas, middle of nowhere. I'm in Woo Pig Suey country
Oh, shit.
right now.
That sucks.
So yeah.
I'm from Louisiana, so you know it's never that bad because it's
Fair.
always Arkansas. That's what we think, and so it is what it is.
I was in Baton Rouge last week, so yeah.
Oh man. Well, guys, I think we done went for an hour and 20 minutes. We got anything else you want to talk about?
If I could quickly, yeah.
Yeah. Come on, we got plenty of time. Good.
He says, how about Bama's quarterback not being Milroe concerning to you? I think it will be Milroe. But at the end of the day, look, I said this before. My biggest questions for Alabama is the offensive line going to allow the running backs to do what they need to do, because this is going to be a more structured Alabama offense. Last year, they relied on Bryce Young far too much. They got away from the running game far too much. So the offensive line is key number one. But look, whoever wins the job, Nick Saban has been very forthright in saying this: be undeniable. Right? Like, be the guy that he can't deny the job to. He doesn't want to have to pick a quarterback. He wants someone to pick themselves. Be undeniable. But I'll tell you what I'm more concerned about. If it's Jalen Milroe, if it's Ty Simpson, if it's Dylan Lonergan, the hype around that freshman is real, y'all. Or if it's Tyler Buckner, the wide receivers have to catch the passes that come to them. That's an issue that is still rearing its head. That's a bigger issue than the quarterback is, because I've seen clips of Milroe dropping dimes and they're not being caught. Now, I've also been told that, hey, it was 1 to 3 drops. It was just that the drops and when they happened were the worst time, where the guy was like a wide open touchdown, and that's a bigger concern to me than the quarterback. I think it will be Milroe, though, because look, if you're after consistency, there's only one quarterback in the room that offers a consistent weapon. That's Jalen Milroe with his running game. And he's got a cannon on him, too. Do not doubt his throwing ability. That man has got a cannon, and he's very gifted.
I heard the streets saying that Lonergan has the best pro arm, though, in the room.
He is a serious baseball prospect. So, like, he's a dual sport guy. And there was some thought at first. People were like, hey, he's super talented, but he could be much more focused on baseball because, like I said, he's a really gifted pitcher. A really, really gifted pitcher. And yeah, from what I've been told, man, and you know, that's to be expected of pitchers. They kind of, if you're going to be a college pitcher, you have ice running through your veins. That's just kind of what the position. And so he's gone out there, no pressure on him because he's a true freshman, and he's just gone out there and played ball. Really, really bright future.
Playing well when his name keeps coming up in multiple circles.
Yeah.
In that, like, he must be doing something behind the
Very
practice board.
impressive. Yeah.
Exactly. It's going to be interesting, man. I think whoever does win the job at Alabama, which I'm pretty sure it's going to be Milroe, but it's who's going to turn the ball over to, you know, like the less, you know how Saban is. Saban is always to please take care of the ball, which Milroe had a problem with last year, you know, so he kind of gave that ball up a couple times and, you know, last year, but I'm pretty sure he's going to, you know, just have that tidied up and everything. But I would expect it to be Milroe, you know, just for the same reasons, man. He is so electric just on the ground that it is going to force you to kind of think about what defense you're going to play, man. Do you have to spy him or what? I mean, he is that electric. I mean, if people haven't seen him play who are on this channel right now, he's a dog when it comes to running the ball, folks. He's 225 pound, 227 pound, you know, guy who once he's in the field, he's a straight up running back dude. He's a beast. So even Nick Saban has said this plenty of times. The hardest player to defend in college football is a quarterback who can run the ball. And so now that he has that on his team, he's already had it with Jalen before. Now he has it with Milroe. They're going to be a very difficult out.
If he doesn't win this job, then we really know decision making was a significant issue, because it's not just decision making in terms of where to throw the football. It's also decisiveness on when to run and when to throw.
Yeah.
And when a play is dead versus trying to make a spectacular play. Decision making is all over in college football from the quarterback position in football. And I think that's a big thing here, because we kind of started off when we started our SEC content talking about Jaden Daniels versus KJ Jefferson and that thing in terms of first team, second team. And the thing with Jaden Daniels is he doesn't turn the ball over, great on third down, great in the red zone. If those boxes get checked for Jalen Milroe, the job is his. If you can do those three things, don't turn the ball over, aka good decisions, you're good on third down, aka good decisions, and you're good in the red zone, aka good decisions, the job is yours.
Yes, no conversation.
No. So that's good. That to me, that's going to be the key.
Yeah, completely agree.
I'm there with you.
Same here, man.
Why is Davis Bevel getting strays in the chat?
Hold on. I'm gonna tell you why. So first off, hey Chris, there's a question for you. You can read
Dog.
that.
Dog. Straight
All right.
dog.
And here's another one for you, Chris.
Bum. I'm not even gonna hide that. Not even gonna hide that. 49 I gotta listen to that the entire year.
This is a Jackson Arnold channel now, buddy.
Hey man,
yes, sir.
Hey, Chris, your dog coach signed off to bring him to your team last year.
Hey, you got to do what you got to do. We were left a bunch of. Well, I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, we were scraping the bottom of the barrel when that coaching staff got here and they was trying to go for quarterbacks. I mean, that's why we ended up with him and General Booty. That's just kind of what it is. Nobody else was left in the portal.
Hold on real quick. Let's look at Surfer Boy's comment, and I think this is kind of what Ty was talking about. So, fellas, I can already tell Saban wants to run for 300 yards and slow that exactly. And I think we've been kind of preaching this for the last couple of weeks. Man, is Saban's going to play bully ball. He's going to play a lot of bully ball this year. I think Jalen Milroe is, I'm going to say, a much more talented Blake Sims. I think he passes the ball a lot better than Blake Sims. And I just got a feeling that this is going to be a really good team. In that Blake Sims year, they only lost 2 games. In the 2 games they lost, It wasn't like they got blown out. I mean, they got beat by like 1 possession. So it wasn't like that was just like such an off year. It was an off year for Bama at that time because they were winning a championship every year. But, they were still, I think in that season, they were 13-2. Right. So that was the first year of the playoffs. Right. So.
Yeah, let me add to that too. So Surfer Boy, I like that you mentioned that because I agree. That's probably what Bama, we can tell us what Saban wants to do. So Bama's most likely going to do that. Me and Ty talked about that a few times on his channel. He's made mention of, it looks like the focus is going to be to run the ball. Granted, good. I think Georgia's going to do the same thing. And Surfer Boy, you mentioned it. Y'all got like 6 running backs. Why in the hell would you not use them? Why wouldn't you slow things down, leverage that big old offensive line that's got all of those preseason All-Americans on it? You may as well go out there and run it down everybody's throat and take as much pressure as possible off Carson Beck. Don't make him feel like he has to be Stetson Bennett because if all the 5-star quarterbacks y'all have brought in there, a walk-on was the one that was able to make the magic happen, and you don't want to put that pressure on the rest of your 5 stars. And so, granted, I think that Georgia does the same thing. I think Kirby has them pounding that rock constantly.
Yeah, and then also, folks, I sent this to our group chat about a week ago or so, but I put the message in there that look, Bama's going to play bully ball because if you look at Bama's projected starting line. Left tackle Caden Proctor at 6'7", 354 pounds. Left guard Terrence Ferguson at 6'4", 318. The center is the smallest guy in the team here at 6'4", 301. Right guard is Tyler Booker at 6'5", 335. And then the right tackle, J.C. Latham at 6'5", 335. Average height and weight for the projected starting line here at Alabama is 6'5", 329 pounds. They're going to play bully ball this year, folks. They're going to lean on people.
And Booker's moving to the left side.
Oh, is he? Okay.
Yeah, with Proctor.
Ty told me that these guys are also in great shape too. They don't have the big mama's house, legs with the diabetes and
where the calf and the ankle
and the elbow.
Where the calf and the ankle just one.
The cankle.
You don't even have an ankle, bro.
It goes from the knee to the foot. It's just one
tree stump. It's a tree stump. It's a tree stump.
Some of y'all got teams where your line is too big. You know what I mean? And brothers out there with diabetes legs, so they can't play a certain amount of snaps.
If Harvey Updike is looking at your legs, suspect, you got a problem.
Hey guys, I want to get in this comment.
And Kim's right.
So Kim said that, all right, so bully ball is great as long as you're ahead, but get behind it and it all goes out the window. That is true.
True.
But when your offensive line averages 330 pounds across the board, I think Bama's going to be able to sustain some long drives. I mean, they just are. They're going to be able to sustain some long drives, 5-6 minute drives at a time to be able to just close some games out, man. So, that's a worry, but I tell you, man, Milroe's a beast too, man. He can pass that ball too as well. We'll see. me see where we at. Surfer Boy.
One
Surfer
thing
Boy's
about
been-
long drives, though, like Sark always says, the more plays, the more opportunity to screw it up.
That is true. That is true.
That's why he likes to score in 2 or 3 plays.
Then that defense tired of shit. You got a team going 15 plays. You scored 2.
He's
and
like,
defense
yo,
damn.
he's like, as a play caller,
Right.
I forgot. I think he said this at a clinic or something, but I know it was Sark. He was like, when you're on play like 11 or 12, it's like you know that freaking false start or holding call's coming at some point. And it's like how long are we going to get away with this before they call something?
That's hilarious.
Oh man,
That's good.
all right. Well, folks, anything else you guys want to talk about?
Nah, it's been a wrap.
It's been
I
a
think-
wrap, man. It was
Good
good
show.
times. It was good times.
Subscribe,
Folks,
like,
100. Yeah, I think at our height today, we had about 115, 120 people in. If you haven't liked already, man, like the video. It just means a lot. Helps us out a lot here at the channel, man. And tune in next week, man, the SEC Connect. So it'll be episode 23 next week, and we'll see what we're going to talk about.
Hey, episode 23.
Hey.
Yeah, episode 23, man. So, hey, think about it. After the first SEC game, our next, our 25th show should be the week after week 1. So that should be perfect.
Are we making time
I'm
for
so
the dogs
excited.
and bums list? That's all I need to know.
Yeah. You know what?
You can
We're going to
have
start
that.
out with that next week. We want to make sure. So
Yeah, let that man have it.
Chris,
I
that
actually
means-
fear what happens if we don't let him have it, to be honest with you.
Hey,
I'm in that boat now.
Hey, Chris. So if we're going to start off next week, that means you guys show up on time.
Okay, I got you.
Oh, Christ's mercy. Okay, never mind. Segment's not happening. No, never mind.
Oh man! All right, man.
I think
out,
we're
man.
good.
Yeah, appreciate you guys.
Hey, put Boomer in the chat, man.
Hell no.
Boomer.
Boomer, baby.